Are we good to go? I think we're good to go. While reading these articles as well, I came across a few little thumbnails which I just really enjoyed. Dick Van Dyke stood next to Mary Poppins that said, "Monzo, I'd rather invest my tuppence in the bank." I don't really know what it meant by that. I'm not worried about Monzo. I'm not about to pull my savings out. Last week, there was quite a large buzz in the personal finance #fintech community regarding Monzo, who had recorded that they doubled their losses in 2020 as opposed to 2019. And there was a few articles that were debating the future of the company. Is it a viable platform still? Should you maybe, as a consumer or customer, move your money out of Monzo and put it somewhere that you consider it a bit more safe? I made my own video on this subject. You can find the link for that in the description. I had a few friends contact me who actually work for Monzo, and it was an interesting take on the subject, because when thinking about a company, it's easy to just think in terms of numbers such as profit, loss, percentages, increases, decreases, but it's quite easy to forget that there's actually people who work for these companies. So I decided to do a little bit more research, and I found a couple of articles which highlight the fact that Monzo's competitor Starling Bank also doubled their losses in 2020 as opposed to 2019, but this wasn't catching quite so much a buzz, and the reason for that, I think, is because the numbers weren't quite as high, but the trend is still the same. COVID-19 has had a negative impact on a great number of businesses, and the digital banks are no exception. So in order to combat the complications that COVID-19 presents, Monzo decided to make a series of money-saving decisions, which unfortunately did include furloughing staff, some redundancies, and even some office closures. The co-founder of the company, Tom Blomfeld, even though he sounds a little bit like a James Bond villain, seems to be a pretty good guy, and he actually elected to take a 12-month no-pay period until the company can sort of get back on its feet. I say on its feet, I'm not entirely sure that it's on its ass. Clearly they're having some sort of financial difficulty. Other board members as well decided to take a 25% pay reduction for the time being. Whether it'll help or not, who knows, but that's what's been done. It is important to know that Monzo isn't alone in reporting these losses. I think it is something to take into account, and it seems easy to jump on a negative story, but I refuse to kick a bank while it's down, and I'd like to take a bit more of a balanced view on things. You know, it seems like it takes these tech startups a few years to get into a profitable position. Monzo and Starling Bank haven't reached that yet, and I really hope they do, because I am a Monzo customer, and as I said in my previous blog post and my previous video, I don't hold any allegiance to Monzo as a company. I'm not like a Monzo super fan, but as somebody who has had a very good experience with the bank so far, I'd like to see it succeed. I'm the kind of person who likes to see other people succeed, whether they're individuals that I know or an entity like Monzo who's sort of making its way forward in a fairly new space. Monzo Chief Executive T.S. Anil offered some words of reassurance when he announced that the bank will launch powerful new products that help people manage their money better, as well as drive revenue and cement our place as the UK's most recommended and fastest growing bank. Now, a statement like that obviously is coming from somebody who's quite high up in the management team at Monzo, so it could be a case of just trying to dampen the fire, but it seems like a fairly positive statement. I know Monzo have recently released Monzo Plus, which is a service that they charge their customers £5 a month for. I personally haven't decided to use this service yet because I don't think that the benefits are actually worthwhile for me, but for the people that do decide to use this service, that's obviously going to increase Monzo's revenue and get some money coming in to put them in a better position in the future. Personally, please don't, I'm not a financial advisor, don't take anything I say without doing your own further reading. I'm not worried about Monzo, I'm not about to pull my savings out. I only keep minimal savings with Monzo. I do the majority of my long-term savings and savings for important things with the more established banks like NatWest and Lloyds. I do use Monzo for short-term savings and for my sinking funds, which you can check this video out, also link in the description, talk about sinking funds there. What might we take away from this in our own personal finance journey? There was a quote from Warren Buffett which said, "Only when the tide goes out do you discover who has been swimming naked." And while Monzo might have been caught skinny dipping, we certainly don't have to. No matter who you bank with or how much money you make, it's important to live within your means. I've been an avid listener to Dave Ramsey for a number of years, and while I don't follow his instructions to the letter, his principles have put me in a much better financial position than I ever have been. I've become frugal but not funless, depending on who you ask. I plan what I do with my money instead of spending without thought and wondering what happened. But perhaps the most important thing I've learned is to cultivate a lifestyle that is manageable on my income and allows me to save money for the things that I really want and for a rainy day. Now I only skinny dip for fun, and I can assure you that getting caught would cause embarrassment for entirely non-financial reasons. At the end of the day, I know Monzo is a big company, and us dealing with personal finance, it's a different thing, it's a different beast. But there is an important lesson to learn here. Live within your means. No matter who you bank with, budget your money, understand what comes into your household when you get paid, understand what you're spending that on, for example, household bills, car maintenance, food, rent, and then figure out what you've got left to play with. And by playing with, I mean doing the fun stuff, but also saving for the future and saving for the things that you want, so that we don't have to rely on debt when something like COVID-19 does come along and puts financial stresses on pretty much everyone in the country, everyone worldwide, I'd say. You won't get caught skinny dipping, and you'll have a lot more money behind you to actually deal with these crises. I think that's pretty concise. Thank you for watching. I hope that you got something from this video. You can find my website at www.ollirossaphoto.com. You can follow me on Instagram at OllieRossaPhoto, Twitter at OllieRossa, and I also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/OllieRossa. I'm not asking you to subscribe to that. The one and only tier that I've got on Patreon is entitled "Your Money Would Be Better Off in a Savings Account," which is true, but now that making these videos is starting to take a lot more time, effort, and money with the setup that I've got, I figure if you get something out of those and you would like to support this channel, you can do so at Patreon. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll speak to you next time.